With each life, you will develop your character and make your mark in the Chronicle.
Bro, that sounds
When
morbid
your
as
character
fuck.
eventually dies, their soul will be reincarnated stronger than before.
I don't want to do that.
And their
That's
spirit
weird.
and destiny will live on in another character of your making.
What
the
the
game being
fuck?
described was on a scale never before seen. It was going to have every system and feature that you've ever wanted all rolled into one
Yeah,
map.
I mean, that's just like the best idea, right? Because like, why have only some good systems? Let's just have every good system, and that way we'll just make everybody happy and it'll be perfect.
Massive MMORPG, or at least that's what they told us.
Of course.
And apparently it worked. Just 1 month later, on June 3rd, 2016, they hit their Kickstarter goal,
They
with
have.
4 people going as far as donating $10,000 each so that they would be considered royalty in the game. At the
Oh god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Who would do that? Oh man. Like, it's like we can call these people dumb, right? But like, there's plenty of people that spend this kind of money on gacha games too, so it's like really not that big of a surprise. Like, I think that's kind of just like normal. Established titles, yeah, but that wasn't as much money, to be fair.
this point in 2016, Soulbound Studios claimed they would have the game in players' hands in just over 18 months. Not
In 18 months? Wasn't this like 4 years ago?
finished, but at least in playable state. After raising $1 million on Kickstarter, Jeremy announced the game would continue to raise money on its own personal website. And raise money it did, to the tune of over $8 million. As the deadline for the game...
Bro, I need to make it. I need to do this. This is such a good idea. Like, that's such a good idea. And then you just take everybody's money and then you disappear. And you don't make the game. That's like the... Or maybe you could make the game, but it's really bad, and you actually spend like $1 million making the game, and you pocket the other $7 million.
Game approached in 2017, Jeremy announced that the game isn't going to meet the deadline he had promised due to their inability to attract talented developers.
Yeah.
The first sign that
I
things
wonder why.
really weren't going well. Fast forward to 2018, when everyone was originally expecting the game to be
Look
in a
at that
playable
game,
fast
man.
forward to
Look at this.
2018, when everyone was originally expecting the game
One more.
Fast forward to 2018, when everyone was originally expecting the game to be in a playable state, and it was not. In fact, no one had any proof that there was a playable game at all. No member of the public had played a single minute of it. Later in that year, November 2018, with over $6 million in funding secured, people were beginning to worry about the future of the game. They
Yeah.
noticed it had been nearly 2 years since they saw it.
Wow, look at that. Is this RuneScape 3? I never even saw the game. I've only watched OSRS. So I've never seen... So this is RuneScape 3. Holy fuck. Wow, it does look a little bit better, huh?
Any new footage of the game. Surely, with millions of dollars and years of work put into the game, there must be something impressive to show. Almost another...
Well, they have the belt. They literally have the guys... What the hell happened to the back of his head? What the hell is this?
Another year passes by, and on September 6, 2019, the first gameplay footage since 2017 is released. Remember when I
one
teased
second.
the first gameplay? Footage since 2017 is released. Remember when I told you to remember what the original gameplay footage would look like? This is what backers thought they were getting. No, it's what they were told they were getting. And this is what they got.
Oh my god.
To say that fans were disappointed would be an understatement of a lifetime. The game was now 2 years past its initial planned delivery date and 8 times over budget, and this was all they had to show for it. This was the result of 4 years of development.
Dude, imagine watching the Unreal 5 tech demo and then thinking, bro, I donated $10,000. I can't wait to have my own castle and have it look like this. And the game comes out. And then it's this.
And millions of dollars of backers.
I'm a founder,
It's
guys.
here where most of the backers soured on the game, some going as far as to threaten legal action against Soulbound. On March 11th, 2020, the Settlers of Illyria event would...
They should have a cosmetic for the founders, and it's one of those hats with a propeller on it. It says royalty on it.
Take place as
Oh
a
my God.
free alpha event to allow participation in a 45-day test of the game.
Clown mask,
Of
yeah.
course, this
The little
free
red
alpha
nose.
test included massive microtransactions to allow players to spend hundreds or even free alpha tests included massive microtransactions to allow players to spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars buying plots of land within this unfinished game.
There you go. Buying land in an unfinished game. You know, people used to do this. They would sell land in Florida, and they had to make a law against selling land on the moon because they kept doing this in real life too. Like, most online scams were real life scams until somebody made a law against them.
They won it. Amazing. It was a disaster. Players were not happy. And now, with a much more realistic idea of what this game was going to be, the funding for the game stopped coming in. In an event that was only surprising to the backers with their heads 6 feet under the sand on March 25th, 2020, Soulbound announced the studio would be shuttering on April.
But to our great sadness, with the failure of Settlers of Elria and 5 months of limited crowdfunding revenue coming in, Soulbound Studios has officially run out of money. Last night, I was forced to do something that I never thought I would have to do. I closed the online store, put Settlers of Elria map back into read-only mode, and laid off all the employees. And after that, I booked my trip over to Cancun with my $8 million, and I'm on to the next stage of my life.
6, 2020, however, there was an about face detrimental consequences. An FAQ appeared on the COE website stating that the game would very much be released and that they did not mean to imply shutting down. This was likely for legal reasons, as they had promised to deliver a game in exchange for the money they'd collected. To simply state that the game wasn't coming without refunding any of the money could leave them vulnerable to some legal action.
That's true. So they have to technically make a game. Now, is the game going to be any good? No, but it will be a game. It could be Tetris or Minesweeper, but it is a game.
With angry backers undeterred by this promise, on August 17, 2020, a class action lawsuit was filed demanding that Soulbound refund the money for the game they failed to deliver.
Absolutely.
Soulbound would decline the demands to refund the backers, so on
No refunds. No refunds.
February 3rd, 2021, the case was likely filed. Around the same time, Illyria was posting videos a month about the progress of the game, probably to appear as though they were still working on it. So where's the game now, 2 years after all of that? And how did the lawsuit end? Was justice served? Was the people's money returned? Was anyone held accountable for the complete mismanagement of the funds?
No.
Well, I wish I could say that the court laid the law down on this man and this practice of taking people's money without the realistic possibility of being able to deliver what was promised. I wish the court case had sent a signal to would-be Kickstarter scammers, but unfortunately the lawsuit was dismissed and Walsh escaped with everything except for his reputation. He's now—
Oh, he only has $8 million. Oh, bro, like,
working on a completely different game with a completely different engine known as Kingdoms of Illyria. My guess is this game has as much of a chance of turning into a polished product as Kingdoms of Illyria. He's now working on a completely different game and a completely different engine known as Kingdoms of Illyria.
I honestly think that you shouldn't be able to sue him the second time. You should have been able to sue him the first time. But like at a certain point, like how much due diligence does somebody have to do before they just decide to light their own game on fire, or light their own money on fire?
My guess is this game has as much of a chance of turning into a polished, finished product as Chronicles of Illyria. Whatever you do, don't give Jeremy Walsh another dime of your money for a game that isn't yet complete, because it's probable he's selling you a bridge to nowhere. I'm not saying don't buy his game when it's finished. I'm just saying don't buy it.
Well, I would assume that whenever it's finished, it's not really finished. They're just selling it. Yeah, so like, I mean, they're not, it's not the finished game, they're just selling the game now.
His game until it's finished. which is actually fantastic advice for any of the games on this list today. Next up, we have The Day Before. But first, a word from today's sponsor. Crasher Nirvana is an amazing martial arts fantasy MMORPG mobile game that was just released. In this game, you will play as a warrior and experience a vast open world with immersive graphics.
How does a mobile game have this, but the problem is Valeria couldn't figure it out for the PC? How's that possible? But do you guys ever think about this for like 3 seconds? Like, how is it possible we got a mobile game looks like this, but the PC games look like shit? Like, what happened?
7 classes and roles within the game, each with specific skills, weapons, and appearances. In the exploration of the vast open world, you can fight with monsters and bosses in different maps and scenes to acquire materials to learn martial arts, upgrade your weapons, and practice your successive attack skills. If you get bored with your first character, you're free to change your profession. Not only that,
Looks better combat than Wulong.
you can also turn into a demon. A demonized player has a completely different appearance along with more powerful abilities. In the process of completing tasks, you will encounter a variety of NPCs and constantly delve into the character's storyline. The game also features a deep PvP and guild vs guild system where you can team up with friends to fight together and challenge yourself with more special side stories. The game
I love how like a lot of these mobile games just invent these numbers. Like, what's your power level? 136 million. Oh, so it's pretty low then. You know, most normal players are up to 1 billion.
Also adds an intriguing social system that allows players who prefer interpersonal relationships to quickly make friends, find love, and get married to other players in-game. So be sure to check out this unique
That escalated
MMORPG
quickly.
within a gorgeous and mysterious setting. Log into the game now and get 200 consecutive draws for free. It's highly possible for you to get rare drops, pets, and skins, so download it now using the link in the description below and use my code GIFT2023 for rewards. Thank you for listening, and now let's get back to the video. This is the most recent possible scam to be added to this list, and I say possible scam because it's not really confirmed yet.
I do not think that I have seen sufficient evidence that The Day Before is a scam. I actually don't think so.
This story starts in January of 2021 when a developer known as Fantastic dropped the trailer for their upcoming title, The Day Before. It was announced as an open-world survival MMO set in a deadly post-pandemic America that has been overrun by flesh-hungry infected. It caught massive attention. The public was incredibly excited for this idea. So they announced that on March 31st, 2021, they would...
People have always wanted a survival shooter, like MMO FPS game. And people have wanted this ever since like the 2000s. And there were a couple of attempts at it. Like right now we have Destiny. I think that's probably the biggest game like that. But besides that, you've also got fucking, what's that other game? Planet Side 2. Yeah, there it is. The Division. Yeah, a few more. But like nothing has like really hit. Holy shit. Oh, yo, what's up, boys? Thank you, Shy Lily, for the raid. Thank you very much. Oh my God, wow. Thank you, guys. We're watching a video about games that are fucking scams, or at least they might be scams.
Show everyone some gameplay footage. The day before it was set to air on March 30th, they ended up delaying the trailer a week due to technical problems. The new airing date would be a week later, April 6th, 9 a.m. And so on April 6th, everyone tuned in and were met with a starting soon screen. They would watch this screen for over 9 hours until the stream was finally shut down. So on April 6th, everyone tuned in and were met with a starting soon screen. They would watch this screen for over 9 hours until the stream was finally shut down.
Bro, that reminds me of that girl. Oh my fucking God, that girl, Taylor, fucking, she has like a French last name or something like that, and she would just stand off the camera. Oh, rocket, yes.
On April 9th, 2021, 13 minutes of gameplay was finally revealed. The 13 minutes of gameplay looked great as far as everyone could tell. It would look so great that the game would become the most wishlisted game on Steam, over top of games from AAA studios like Spider-Man, Stalker 2, and even Bethesda's Starfield. This caught people's attention. Fantastic accomplished this without having a great track record to stand on. Looking back at their history, they sold early access to their game called Wild 8, and then almost immediately abandoned it.
Ooh, not good.
They moved on to a game called Dead Dozen, which had even more problems. It went into early access and shut down completely 3 months later.
This one's gonna be
Things
different.
kept getting weirder though.
Yeah, this one's
The trailer
different,
looked
though.
too good to be true, literally. Developers would even react to the videos, stating that at the very least this looked like a vertical slice of the game that they had just created for the purposes of marketing it.
Is this in game?
I remember the character in the cinematic. We watched the video, and the girl was wearing like really tight pants, and she had a big ass, and nobody was even paying attention to the gameplay at all. Like it was like a 17-minute video. And people were like, yeah, I don't know about this game. I don't know. Maybe if they release gameplay for it, I'll have to watch it. And it's like, you just watched a 17-minute video of gameplay. They're like, no, I didn't.
It is. I'm getting very The Division vibes from it.
Wow. The shadows, the lighting is excellent. Oh,
In an MMO though, I'm skeptical.
how can they do that? I'm getting a feeling it's overly rendered. This is not.
I think it's more of a vertical slice on first impression. A vertical slice, if you don't know, is this doesn't mean that the whole game is done and it looks like this. This is probably a section that they popped out, and we're able to develop and carve out and make certain things look final when they're not. That's what happened with Watch Dogs. That's what happened with Cyberpunk for a while.
So it's kind of like whenever you take a picture or like you clean up your room, and then you throw all of this stuff behind the door and hope your mom doesn't close the door and see what's behind the door. Yeah.
A lot of it, so I'm a little skeptical.
Are about to get heated.
Here's the thing, and this is why I think it's pre-baked.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be another player.
Right.
When we go back, see the way they come in, it looks like it's an animated character that's not another player, but that means that those can't actually be other players.
They could be. It could very well be they have their own, AI players. They
To
could
move
be.
like that, they don't have to be AI, because if it was a real player, the animation wouldn't
Well, I don't.
be that smooth. When you actually play a game, you're kind of jittery.
This by itself.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't find that to be very strong evidence, though. I think that the other examples, and just like kind of like a logic example, yeah, number one, not necessarily. Number two, it could be another player, but they're moving in that specific way, so it looks good for the video. Number three, it could be an AI generated, like fucking like NPC, which I also think is fine. Like, there are many other examples where I think this was not really that big of a deal.
Itself wasn't totally unheard of, but with this studio's history in mind, it starts to cast doubt on the viability of the game being delivered as promised. Things would continue to get weirder when Fantastic used a bait and switch tactic on their fans, pretending a big new announcement was coming for the day before. And then when the announcement arrived, it was actually for a completely different game? Essentially using their clout they had gained for the hype around the day before to advertise and launch another game they were working on, called Prop Night. People weren't happy about it at all, but it was somewhat smoothed over when the studio also provided a launch date of June 21,
To be fair, their recent reviews are mostly positive.
2022. At that time, that meant the game was just over 8 months away, so people were pretty excited. Fast forward to May 3rd, a little over a month before the game's scheduled launch date, Fantastic posted an announcement letting the community know that they would be giving a big update about the game that week. And what was the big update they hyped up? The big update they got that week was that they were delaying the launch of the game another 9 months, into March of 2023.
Oh, March. The release date of the game will be March 1st, 2023. Wait. Did we miss it? Oh my, how did we miss this? Oh, fuck, guys. We missed a lot. Fuck.
2023. The reason for the delay? Well, there was such massive interest in the game that they wanted to spend more time making sure they got it right. Honestly, for a studio that had never seen this kind of interest, to look at its project landing at the top of the Steam wishlist and decide, hey, we better spend the time to get this right, well, it isn't all that surprising.
That's
among
smart.
the changes that would be made.
If I were them, I would do the same thing. Because if this game comes out and it's a bad game. That's it, period, for forever, that it's done. Like Cyberpunk, like BFA, like mini games. Like, yeah, if it comes out as bad, it's bad.
They would be switching the game over from UE4 to UE5. This also isn't surprising, as we've seen multiple studios make the same move around the same time. So far, we have a lot of red flags that could be genuine mistakes or intentional deception, but there wasn't anything you could point at and say, these guys are definitely acting in bad faith. That was until they later posted a video asking for people to work on their game for free as volunteers. Naturally, alarm bells were really
I
sounding.
mean, as a Twitch streamer, I mean, this is kind of like normal.
Now, it was weird that the studio was promising to deliver a game far, far beyond anything they'd ever created before. A game massive AAA studios are afraid to attempt because of the budget it demands. But people were willing to give them the benefit of the doubt until they had a reason not to. And for a lot of people, this was that reason. How were you going to make a game that by its very nature required a AAA budget? All while using...
Or you just make all the people that were working for it work for free. I mean, it's actually kind of an ingenious solution. Because see, you have this problem where it's like, oh fuck, like we have to pay all these people, well what are we gonna do? And somebody smart in the office is like, what if we just don't pay them? What if we just tell them that we're not gonna pay them and that's it? You know, do you think that's gonna work? Apparently.
Paid volunteers. What kind of quality would that provide? And what kind of a studio do you have to be to even be willing to publicly ask for such things? If things weren't bizarre enough...
I don't know. I can commend somebody for just being that ballsy.
On January 4th, 2023, Fantastic released another video on their YouTube that was a poorly hidden ad for another product they were developing.
Ooh,
Some kind of office app.
see.
The whole thing was pretending to be talking about the studio and its development of the day before, but actually it just felt like you were watching a really weird ad for some product. And that's because you weren't. They had now used their attention that they garnered from the day before to launch 2 other projects that were not
Smart.
the day before. And they had also tried to get people to work on their game for free, while also delaying the release date of the game twice. The longer the story goes on, the more the red flags pile up. And people noticed. They ended up having to turn off the comments and likes and dislikes on videos to hide the ire of the community. On the bright side, the game was going to be launching in just 3 months.
I
So
mean,
Fantastic's
it's not a big
chance to
deal. I mean, it came
vindicate
out 10 days
themselves was
ago.
fast approaching. That is, until
who's
it
mad?
wasn't. On January 24th, 2023, the most wished-listed game on Steam was removed from Steam. In another twist, Fantastic would go on to say that it was a bug that caused it to be removed from the Steam store. But then Fantastic would later that same day post a separate post that contradicted that, saying 5 days earlier they found out that someone owned the rights to the name the day before. Unfortunately for Fantastic, this also was a provable lie, as there was evidence that they had received word their trademark for the name had been rejected months prior. 2 different posts with 2 different lies in the same day from these guys didn't do a lot to maintain and restore the faith of the people excited for the day before. With the game not even out yet, all of the red flags, and now a trail of lies leaking out of the studio, things were getting weirder than ever. People were beginning to worry if this was even a real game at all. The only trailer they'd seen seemed to have been at best a vertical slice of the game, or at worst entirely pre-rendered. But that was all going to be a problem of the past though, as Fantastic was due to show their gameplay trailer featuring real gameplay this time.
That's true, yeah, so like they're gonna fix it so it's not really a big deal. Like all the haters are just gonna get owned, and they're just gonna set the record straight and put them all to sleep.
At the last second, they canceled, stating that they needed to talk to their lawyers about their name being taken before releasing the trailer.
Alright, never
The
mind.
bad news
Never
is,
mind, guys,
their
never mind.
trailer wasn't the only thing to be delayed. The game's launch was also going to be delayed again for another 6 months to November of 2023. The internet was now crying scam. Everyone was beginning to think this game didn't exist. In response, Fantastic would turn around shortly thereafter and drop the game.
And they would say that it's not a in fact, guys, I know that there have been some of you out there who think that our game is a scam. It is in fact not a scam. There's no need to worry. I know some people might think that it is a scam. It's not a scam. Okay, yeah. Yeah, never mind.
gameplay trailer for the game. As expected, it didn't look nearly as good as the highly touched up trailer that came before it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the fact that it looked worse now wasn't surprising and isn't all that uncommon in the industry. They tend to show very early on a concept of what they are aiming to make that ends up being far more attractive than what they're actually able to deliver on down the road. We've seen a lot of AAA studios make this mistake in the past and then get rightfully called out on it by their communities afterwards. What was odd about this trailer was that the 10 minutes or so of gameplay showed a massive world that felt far from finished. It was devoid of action, a lot of walking, and not a lot going on, particularly for a game that was originally supposed to release a year ago. On top of that, viewers would also immediately notice that many of the assets in the game were purchased straight off of the Unreal Engine shop and set into the game nearly untouched. And then finally, to make things even weirder, the trailer even had sections that were an exact copy of other game trailers. In fact, it wasn't just trailers that were copies of other games. Even the game's logo was a copy of another game's logo. And so was its art.
I mean, the thing is, well, you take everything that people have already done because you know that works. I mean, you know it works. And so you might as well just keep doing it.
It may still launch, but we would have to be ignoring an absolute ton of red flags to say with any level of confidence that the launch will go well. If it does end up being a scam, it will have been an impressive one, as it will be the first scam MMO to have achieved the status of most wishlisted game on Steam. I hope they prove—
I don't think it's a scam. I actually do not think that the day before is a scam. The reason why I don't think that it's a scam is because they're not asking for money. Like, who are they scamming? They're scamming the publisher. The publisher for this game is a literal, like, multi-hundreds of millions of dollars company that has gone on record and said that they have reviewed the game and it's actually a game and it's actually happening. So unless you think that you, as a Redditor, YouTube commenter, YouTube viewer, have a better insight into this than the fucking multi-$100+ million company that is producing this game, come on. Maybe they're just fucking dumb. Scamming my time by watching a 10-minute trailer? Yeah, I just don't think it's a scam. It's not a scam, it's a shit game? Yes, I think so. Multi-$100 company? Yeah, sorry, I was for a second I thought I was talking about Blizzard. It could just be a marketing scheme. I doubt that a massive publisher, like the one that's publishing this game, I forgot the name, would want to attach themselves to something that's as problematic as this. There's no reason to. And also the publisher is mainly a mobile game publisher, which means that, like, reputation doesn't matter as much, but it still does matter because you have to have people that buy into the gotcha of, like, the next game. Phase drama? Oh, is it phase drama? I don't know.
All of the doubters wrong, but as of right now, history would suggest this game will be sold in early access before dropping in a state that is completely unfit for release, ultimately being abandoned by the developer yet again. Where is the game today? 2 launch delays later and 6 months before its newest scheduled release date.
2 launch delays so far. Okay. Keep that in mind.
Well, on February 16th, 2023, the developer released a devlog where they talked about the journey of the game so far. The website is still up, but if you click add to wishlist, it just takes you to the front page of Steam because you can't actually add it to your wishlist because the game doesn't exist on Steam anymore. This game hasn't stolen anyone's money yet, so it's not a scam yet, but the developers have been caught lying. They've been caught copying other developers' work. They've promised the moon, and they have a history of selling unfinished games and then walking away from them. Hopefully Fantastic keeps delaying their game until it's finished, but I wouldn't spend any money on this one until it's going to be a finished, playable product. There's just way too many red flags at this point.
If you want to be kept up to date on how this all unfolds, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification button.
I don't know why it got
and maybe
taken off
even like
Steam.
the video and leave a comment if you're enjoying it. For the algorithm gods. Next up, Dream World, a game just...
Oh god. What's up, man?
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Here we go.
Described as being the infinite open world MMO where you could sculpt the world and create
Yes.
anything you wanted with
Do
a
anything
massive
you wanna
catalog
do.
of objects in one single world with millions
That's
of
right.
other players.
Millions
You could
at the
explore